Okay, here we are. We are starting the full moon video, and we've got Taffy, although you probably can't see her, but she's here somewhere. Every now and then she'll be jumping up, just so y'all don't freak out. Full moon for September. September's full moon. This is an interesting full moon, so we're going to do a little conversation about it first before we go into the actual details of the chart. September season is very unique. When we looked at the new moon of September, Uranus was a big factor. Uranus sextiling the new moon, right, in Earth. And so whenever something is a new moon, it's a beginning of something. And whenever something is in Earth, it's a tangible, practical, something that you can actually see with your eyes. It's likened to the rubber hitting the pavement, right? It's time to go. It's time to do it. It's time to actually be able to see what it is we're focusing on. Again, Uranus will also play a significant role in the full moon for September. Innovations, new. A full moon is at the height, right? It's when the moon is at its fullest. Remember, the moon is emotions. It's family. It's your feelings. When we look at the chart for the full moon in September, we've got the moon in the watery, elusive sign of Pisces. So I kind of like this because Pisces is elusive. It is the rose-colored glasses. I'm changeable and I'm flexible. I can be the actor, right? I can change who I am in front of you. I can literally become somebody else. I can put on a mask. I can change my costume. That's Piscean energy. It's very creative. Okay, it's very creative in that way. But it is also about understanding how we're connected, right? It's the belief and the knowing that there's something out there that you can have faith in and that you can believe in, even though you may not be able to see it. That which is beyond the veil. That's Pisces. It is also the fishes, right? It's the water sign. Full moon in a water sign. So there could be a tendency to be very emotional. And the emotions you may feel in Piscean energy, there could be the possibility of feeling a little isolated because Pisces is the house of isolation. It's that 12th house energy. So it's all about feeling possibly alone, or you might be just being introspective. You might be rethinking, but more of in a way of, discovering it's like the hidden. So it's our subconscious, realizing some of these subconscious thoughts and the way you feel, your subconscious emotions about something or someone. Now, let's not forget that the sign of Pisces is also, politics, politicians, actors, right? Which is really interesting that they both fall under the Piscean category. It gives you a whole new perspective of when you see people in politics, right? And politicians, understanding they have the same qualities as the greatest actors, right? So Piscean energy, full moon in Pisces, the light of the moon reveals something to us. And it's a culmination of that moon, right? The moon has its 28-day cycle. And once it gets to the height of it, it's over. It's an ending. And what happens when we get to the top part, right, to the ebb, it just releases, it flows, and it ends. What are you ending? What are you going to be releasing? Who are you releasing? Piscean energy can be theatrical, can be music. Do you have any individuals in your life who may be dramatic? Piscean energy is seeing the oneness and the unity. Are we releasing some of that? Are we releasing the unity that we once felt with certain individuals? Are we releasing our super high ideals that we used to hold, that we used to think existed? Are we thinking more rational and tangible? Because the moon over here at 28 degrees and the sun at the opposite at 28 degrees. That's what makes the full moon, opposites of the sun and the moon. And so the sun at the opposite of Pisces is Virgo. Well, Virgo was all about the details, the practical side of life, domestic side of life. It's about the routine, the projects, the work. It's health, it's hygiene, it's health care. Health care is a big deal right now in the midst of a pandemic. Maybe I've had some delusions or illusions about how that worked. Who did or didn't have health care? The sun at 28 degrees, the moon at 28 degrees in Virgo energy. What details will the moon shine on the Virgo energy? What details will we see? What are we going to release? What are we done with? Remember, Uranus is all about technology. It's science. It's about cutting edge, innovation, doing something never done before, experimentation, science taking precedence. The vaccine. Is the vaccine going to be the answer? Is it a combination of regular immunity and creating that and science and the vaccine? So Uranus lending support for something new. At the time of this full moon, days before the full moon, Venus at the exact opposite of Uranus. So when you have Uranus over here, which is new, and Venus over here, which is who I love and what I love, it's Venus in Scorpio, because Uranus is in Taurus, right? Venus in Scorpio is starting to create this exact opposition with Uranus. And so when you have Venus and Uranus opposing each other, it spells out, I have this new understanding for those that I love, for those that are important to me, those that I have deep emotional bonds with, those that I have past life history with. We have a shared value. We love the same thing. We have the same foundational emotional bonds. And it could be blood relatives. It could be money, monetary values, shared values. Many times, Venus opposing Uranus, something new comes into our spotlight. All of a sudden, there's this new value we have. Sometimes it might be shocking and surprising because Venus is at the opposite. Remember, Uranus is shocks and surprises. But here's the thing: Uranus is in Taurus. Well, Venus rules Taurus. So there's a good communication going on here. Venus understands it has an open line of communication with that Taurus energy. It says, you know what? I have the same values. We have the same values. We've been looking at all these other things, all these other differences, and all of a sudden we're able to see our shared values. Our shared values become highlighted at this time. And this is a beautiful setup for releasing our ideologies of how it's supposed to be, of who you're supposed to be, or who I'm supposed to be. Because the sign of Pisces is a very idealistic sign. And it's a release in some of those, because it's a possibility some of those might have been over idealistic. And when we're able to release a little bit of some of that, it becomes a little bit more realistic, a little bit more practical. The sun in Virgo at 28 degrees. So here's the time when we reach that 28 degree point in any sign. It hits the 28 and then 29 the very next day. And it's typically a critical degree. Remember, the sign of Virgo, the sun will be at 29 degrees of Virgo the next day. Virgo is service to our health. Our health is a focus, but our routines, our habits, it needs to be practical and tangible. It's like we need for this to make sense. It's healthcare, right? It's what is the state of our healthcare? And so we have a culmination factor where we're going to release a belief about something. And it might have been something that was super idealistic. And on the other hand, because it's Piscean energy, it's okay to use the word. It was a little, what's the word for Pisces, right? If we have those glasses on and we're not seeing clearly, there can be the delusions and illusions that are released at this time. And so everybody, no matter who we are, we've been living through this pandemic. And many of us, right, have been pointing the finger at the other person, saying, I can't believe they think that. I can't believe they believe that. You know, we've all done it to some degree in some way. And when we do that, we somehow think it's our belief that is right. It's really easy to forget that the word truth actually equals the whole thing, the whole picture. And so the beauty with the sign of Pisces is understanding that it is all the differences contained within the whole that make up the sign of Pisces. And so we are hopefully going to be releasing some of those overly critical thoughts, ideas, and beliefs, because Virgo is over there at the opposite of Pisces, and that's where the sun is. And Virgo is all about perfection, 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 perfection. And it's the belief that if we realize that what we believe is perfection and that's the way it's got to be, then maybe there'll be enough of the pie for more people. Maybe there'll be enough to go around to everybody. Maybe there's a possibility that not just a few people get quality health care, but more people get quality health care. This is a relief, a release, an ending into some Piscean way. When we talk about the moon in Pisces and the emotions that can be involved in, Pisces is also all about sacrifice. Pisces is all about being very sensitive, the ability to feel what another is feeling. Pisces is all about feeling isolated, feeling like a fish out of water at times, being misunderstood. So the moon in Pisces gives us that realization of all those that have felt that way. And we could be those very same people. And it's a time of releasing all that. It's finding a way to understand that Piscean energy, it is really best used either praying, literally as a spiritual energy, to pray, to do art, to be creative, to write, to make believe, fantasy, to write music. Piscean energy is all about film, theater, singing, acting. Once we recognize the Piscean parts of our lives and we see them for what they are, we see the moments when we are being that Piscean person. And don't get me wrong, I love Piscean energy. Piscean energy understands that at the back of all things, regardless of how we look, regardless of our accomplishments or our failures, we are all one. What we do to one, we do to another. What I do to myself, I do to you. That's what Piscean energy is. But realizing there's some points and some ways of our belief and our speech and the way we are, where it could be a little on the delusional side. And sometimes we hold on to those delusions, not realizing that they prevent us from moving forward. And so Uranus is all about moving forward in a way that we've never done before, and knowing it's going to be okay. And heck, yes, it's going to be different. It's supposed to be different. Venus, the exact opposite of it, and recognizing a shared value, a shared resource. And we all know what our shared resource is. No matter where we are on the planet, we know that our beautiful Earth is a resource that we all pull from, that we all depend on. Don't forget that the moon is our family, literally our physical home, but also our emotional home. So it's where we live. So a release. Will you be releasing something or someone? Have you released something or someone that you thought was family? Feelings are a big deal at this time. Remember, the full moon gets real big in the sky. So we have to really concentrate on where and when we may be being over emotional. And the likelihood of being able to sense and to feel what other people are feeling, because it's the moon in Pisces. Pisces, a sensitive sign. And not sensitive as in, oh, boo hoo, but as in somebody walks into the room and without them saying anything, you can feel what they're thinking, what they're feeling. And so maybe a release on that. Maybe the ability to set up borders and boundaries, energetic borders and boundaries, where you're not letting anything into your space or anyone that squashes your Piscean vibe of being peaceful, of being flexible, of being willing to just go with the flow. Prayer, meditation, retreat, spiritualistic pursuits, the moon in Pisces. There might be questions about childhood, family, mom, emotions about mom and family. Things that you may have never thought of or you hadn't thought of in a long time, you may suddenly get emotional. This would be very true if in your chart you have something that matches the degrees of the Pisces full moon. The moon and the sun, they line up opposing each other on September 20th. Let me bring the full moon into the picture so that we could take a peek at what that's going to look like for you and me.